Many thanks, Oyeyemi Ajayi, for the background report. We now have with us in the studio to, talk about some of the issues you have raised in that background report. Of course, it's a pleasure to have with us the Honorable Minister of State, Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu. It's a pleasure to have you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Also here for the conversation is Arms Free Ajanako, Executive Director, Grassroots Center for Rights and Civic Orientation. Many thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
Also joining us via Zoom, and we have Dr. Umar Bindi. He is the former National Coordinator of the National Social Investment Program and former Secretary to the Adamawa State Government. Dr. Bindi is the founder and Chief Operating Officer, Bindi Knowledge Development Center, Yola, Adamawa State. Dr. Bindi, it's a pleasure to have you join us on this conversation.
Thank you very much. Speaking from the sunny, nice Yola. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, let's kickstart our conversation this morning with the Honorable Minister of State. Honorable Minister, can you just tell us, give us an overview of the social investment program of the government and how it aligns with government's poverty reduction goals?
Well, thank you very much. Let me start by once more thanking the authorities of the Nigerian Television Authority for always been there for us and giving us the ample time to explain programs of government at no cost to our ministry. And also I must thank the management also for finding me worthy to be among the recipients of the just concluded NTA 2024 News Award Night that just recently held here in the Disney. I remain grateful. And that has really motivated me to do more in terms of explaining and giving the situation of government. And that's why when I was called, I came back lately. Mr. Wada reached out to me immediately in the night when I arrived. I just said, I have to really be here with you. And then let me also, as part of it, I still consider it a social investment. Thank Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for the ability he has to be physically present during the just concluded Argungu International Fishing and Cultural Festival. Not only because I'm Minister of Humanitarian, but I'm also from Kebbi State.
Oh, okay.
And I said it has direct social investment. If you see the huge business transaction done by, just consider the Kabu, the Okada riders in Kebbi State, in terms of commuting people from one place to place, and over 50,000 fishermen that were there catching fish, sailing, and in fact the business transaction is this thing. And also the government of Kebbi State used that opportunity to get a commitment of almost 14 million US dollars, and that is really a huge success. So in fact, I congratulate the Emir Argungu also for that outing. Now, coming to this issue, we know that definitely the situation globally call for concern in terms of the fact that people are displaced, not only in Nigeria, globally, because the issue of climate shock leading to flooding. You see some country, how devastating it is, earthquake here and there, and here we have also our own part of the climate shock. Just look at what happened in Niger State last year, first rain caused devastating effect with so many lives lost. And also we have a lot pocket here and there, insurgency from banditry, Boko Haram, and many other things. So this has led to a lot of internal displacement. It was over 3 million Nigerians displaced in the country, and some even outside the country as refugees. And then there's ongoing also post-COVID-19 pandemic shock that the countries are globally not able to come out of it completely, which also affected Nigeria economically. So in all this, it calls for a concern. And that concern in Nigeria was addressed through the creation of a Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, and then with an agency that is saddled with responsibility for social investment as an agency under the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, and also for the emergency case, also the NEMA, which was hitherto under the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, but now under the presidency. So also the insurgency in the Northeast brought about the development of Northeast Development Commission, which was also initially in the ministry, but right now is under also the Ministry of Federal Ministry of Regional Planning. So this also shows that really there are concerns. And then when we, before I go, I must also congratulate and thank Dr. Binder. He was our keynote speaker in the just concluded National Council of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction that was held in Calabar. And I must say that Binder is an institution of humanitarian services, because I really, to be frank, and I'm not flattering him because he was here, he is currently with us. I've never seen a lecture that I've so much enjoyed that I just have to say, wow, it wasn't a mistake when we invited him to say that, and I'm happy you're also here today. It's an institution that I quite agree, not only the ministry, nationally he can be tapped and we can use, and I'm sure he will also share his own experience that is ongoing currently in Adamawa State, which has stimulated me to start thinking something for my own state too. Okay. So if you look at it, we have so many different, this majorly we say that under the NCFA, even in the ministry itself, we have many different departments. We have social need department, we have humanitarian department, we also have poverty reductions, and then we also have other commissions that take care of people with disability, internally displaced migrants and refugees, all this. And then instantly, for that, there is an act of National Assembly that call for the creation of national safety net that will allow Nigerians to grow and live with dignity, so that nobody will be left behind to listen. So, and under that, we have the structure with national coordinator, okay, and who is also the Chief Executive Officer of National Social Investment Program Agency. And under him, there are various programs which are targeted towards alleviating one suffering or mitigating one or other issue. Most importantly, we have the issue, we have the homegrown school feeding program, which I think I have seen one of the pictures, in the video where I was in a joint collaboration between Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Distribution with AMA Foundation in Kaduna, okay, because we all agree that the ministry or the government cannot do it alone. Mm-hmm. And most importantly, a keyword here is that there is donor fatigue and the instant withdrawal of support to development partners by the American government, and that has really destabilized the whole world. Even the United Nations itself now is jittery on where to go and how to go. So we also have to internally to look at how do we mobilize domestic resources, okay, to ensure that our social investment program does not suffer untold hardship. And that's why we went into that partnership. So the Farm program is aimed at improving the nutritional status of our children, increasing the school enrollment, retention, and completion rate, so that we can have children who will grow with their full potential in terms of brain development. They can be able to perform and move this country forward. And that is also another social investment program, because it has a major component about of the student. We have the smallholder farmers who are given the encouragement to have some stipend that will allow them to maintain and produce food so that the food can be sourced locally. Okay. And also we have the the cooks who are now going to go all through in terms of procuring those and ensuring that the food is hygienically prepared and served to the students so that they can remain in school. Minister, and we also have the conditional cash transfer, which is a major component of the social investment program. As at today, the target as at then was to reach 10 million Nigerians. But the president in his own magnanimity raised the figure to 15 million. And then as at today, we have reached almost 9 million Nigerians with that social investment program, running into almost more than 400-something billion, and we have been given that. And then the most important aspect of this is the fact that it is given in tranches, so that you plan what you are going to do for it this month, next month you collect your second tranche, and then lastly, third, you also are this thing. And then we are able to also put them into cooperatives, so that together they have developed means of contributing the little they are getting trace capital, and they are sourcing and selling items together in a group. So that has also produced not only social cohesion. And another important is inclusivity. A lot of, prior to now, a lot of peasant farmers do not have account number, and they don't even have their NIN, the National Identification Number.
Okay.
So it becomes mandatory that for you to enjoy that, you must have NIN. And then once you have NIN, it means that you will have your BVN, and then you also have your
farmer money you're talking about now.
No, I'm just talking about that also.
Okay.
Yes, I'm coming to the farmer money. I'm taking one after the other.
Okay.
This now the farmer money is under a program again that we call Government Enterprises and Empowerment Program. That's the GIP, which we have started. The portal was just opened about 2 days ago. That we are aiming to reach Nigerians who are small farmer holders that own farm to apply, and then they will be given not a grant, but a loan. And what differentiates this loan from other loans from banks is that it's collateral free and it's also interest free.
Okay.
Why it is collateral free? A lot of farmers, if apart from their farm, they may not have anything. And if you say they have to give you their farm as collateral, most of the farm may not have even certificates. So that's this. And then why is this also interest-free? The brother said, okay, this is a country that we have a lot of different religious and so many views. One, there are some, once you say interest, definitely there is no way. Even if they are to die, they will not take a loan, they will not take it here. So say, okay, the government is inclusive. There is inclusivity indeed, which is a major decision. Even in the 8-point agenda of Mr. President, inclusivity is a key factor and it's a major thematic area.
All right,
and we said to be inclusive, let's remove the
let's be interest-free. There's enough time. We're going to deal with all of the issues. But first, I want to let you know we're going to charge you for the thank you message to Dr. Binder. That will be charged.
Binder is ready to pay for it.
Okay, Dr. Binder will pay for it. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, going back to all the things that you said about your ministry, yes. I would like you to tell us what makes all of these interventions now different from what existed in the past. Because, I mean, you just mentioned the school feeding program, the cash transfer, of course. I mean, all of these things have existed. And they've had issues, or if you like, challenges that made a lot of Nigerians distrust the process. Is there anything different being done this time around to make Nigerians, have trust in the process?
Yes, I think God make it different from when the President Bola Ahmed to the reform he has proposed, and we are directed and we are implementing. And what is that? There must be transparency and accountability framework. And that's why I also mentioned the issue of inclusivity. If you give money, you cannot trace individual. It's as good as not done. Because documentation is what will set you free anywhere you go. For instance, I can come to a market and share 50,000, giving people in envelope 2,000. Nobody knows what is in that envelope. And if I I shared it to, let's say, 300 people, and I claim that I've shared 500 million in that market, nobody can dispute it. Nobody can dispute it, you understand? So there's no traceability, and accountability is not there. So the directive now is that the government must work with transparency in terms of each and individual must be known and can be traced. And that's why now the issue of digital identity came. And that's why when we found that even the National Social Register, at the time it was collated, not much is done to give it the digital identity. So we have to quickly go into partnership with NIMSI, so that ensure that a lot of people are enrolled and they have those who are enrolled have the update of their data, so that we can now incorporate both the NIN, the BVN, and also even their telephone number, and that is that. So that makes a lot of difference. And that's why sometimes you see there is a little bit of delay. And then there's a strong check and balance. What the process starts? The NASCO do go through the National Social Register, mine those who have all those digital identity, give it to NCTO, National Conditional Cash Transfer Office, through the officer there, to transmit it to NIMSI. Okay. NIMSI will verify all those NI and what have you, they are really in existence. They will now bring it back to the NCTO. NCT officer now will now transmit that information that he has gotten. Not all that NASCO sent to NIMSI may qualify for disbursement. So those that have qualified will now be returned. And when it is returned, with those who cannot qualify, we look at what is there, and then we go back and update their data. And then those ones that are cleared will now be sent to World Bank, because it's a World Bank funded program. Okay. World Bank program will scrutinize it, ensure that everything is in order, and will now give a no objection that you can proceed to pay. And that no objection will now come back to the NCTO. NCTO now will raise those names that were cleared by both NIMSI and World Bank to the central bank for eventual disbursement of their fund. So this is the way it happens, and that's how it goes. And that's why we continue to see how we can update it. And then even in the farmer money that we are going to do here, we are following the same processes. Portal is open, people who apply. You need all your distance. We need somebody who will stand in for you, because we told them that, look, this is not a grant, it is a loan. Because the other programs that will be as a grant to farmers are the ones that will come under government grant for the vulnerable groups, GBG, which I have not discussed before. So that will be the GBG, grant for the vulnerable group. And then apart from that also, the Inspire on its own too, because it's a social net program, they can also bring forward proposal on how to reach people with their own intervention. And then lastly, you have mentioned, I have just heard this in the documentary, part of it is we have received a report, which I was here, and we had discussion on it, that the World Food Program raised there was a concern that over 30 million Nigerians, or almost 35 million Nigerians, are likely to suffer from extreme hunger in this 2026. And then secondly, also, as we are going, all of a sudden, American government cut off this, which I mentioned earlier, and that affected the World Food Program. And in Nigeria, the World Food Program had 10 major activities, 10 activities, and of which activities, 90 to almost 80 to 90% of its activities relies on the emergency food and cash transfer to vulnerable and internally displaced persons. And all of a sudden, they told us that they are taking care of almost 1.3 million Nigerians, mostly from the north and northeast, northwest, and partly in the north central. And that has become a serious issue for us. And then to make matter worse also, all of a sudden, also the Doctors Without Borders, who are also taking care of severe acute malnutrition admission, also closed down the clinic they are jointly running with the World Food Program. In Maiduguri, they closed over 100, in Borno State, 150 clinics. And then we also went a survey. When that happened, the current national chairman of All Progressive Congress, then the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, went round with those development partners in Sokoto and many other places and assessed the situation of those children. It was really pathetic. Okay. So we had made a presentation, and that is what the president approved, and that's what we are going around distributing, which we may discuss in detail later. All
right, thank you so much, Honorable Minister. We know that you have so much to dish out on this program. But we'll get back to you later. Let's just bring in our other guest. Amsfree, you are also in the social sector, and I know you know so much about this social intervention program of the government. Let's have your thought on the effectiveness of this social investment program, and how do you think it's addressing the issue of poverty in the country?
All right, thank you so much. Let me also join the minister in thanking the NTA, because I'm also an awardee, of that award.
You're also a recipient.
Yeah, yes.
Congratulations.
Yes.
All
so,
right.
I think I'm on the same pedestal that way with the minister. Thank you so much for that. Having said that, I think with respect to these programs, I think it's commendable. And when the question was asked about what has been peculiar to this particular program, I think one of the threads that ran through the program in the Buhari administration, to the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is the fact that there has been some form of continuity in terms of civil society oversight of the process. Okay. And when we talk about civil society oversight, we are not talking about adversarial civil society. We know that there are millions of Nigerians out there that need help, that need these interventions. And our role as civil society is to come in and see how do we work with the authorities to ensure that these programs are delivered in some key areas. One key area is the area of awareness raising, because like the minister talked about the fact that the government alone cannot, does not have all the reach. And so we as civil society, we are at the grassroots level. We are able to raise awareness to get the people to understand the nitty-gritty about these programs. Okay. For example, not everybody knows that there's a social register, and so it's also our role to explain to people and address some misconceptions that come when it comes to the distributive justice of the program. Another aspect of our core work, which the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs has actually been very forthcoming in working closely with a network of civil society organizations, which actually did some independent monitoring of some of these programs. Okay. Whether you talk about the conditional cash transfer, or you talk about even the school feeding program. So they have been a very robust civil society oversight of these processes, and I think that has added value in terms of ensuring that it is not only the government that is coming out to tell us, okay, this is the data of what we are doing. We can also see from independent groups also working with these international and bilateral partners to implement this program. So on that note, I would say there has been very, very commendable synergy between the ministry and all the other governmental actors responsible for the implementation of the program.
All right, many thanks, Samsri Ajanako. Let's get to Dr. Bindere now, who, all right, looks like that connection has been interrupted. Of course, once that is established again, we'll get back to... All right, I hear that Dr. Bindere is back with us. He joins us from Yola in Adamawa State. Dr. Bindere, I mean, fantastic initiatives, by the ministry, and so far we hear that a lot has been done. But, my question to you as an advocate of these humanitarian services is, do you think that this is in any way going to reduce poverty? I ask that because at the moment the poverty rate has increased. Is this just a relief, a short-term relief, or you think in the long run it would reduce poverty?
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. First of all, let me also appreciate NTA for putting me on the list of those awardees. I am also an awardee. Secondly, let me also thank and congratulate the Honorable Minister. Thank you, sir, and his colleague and his permanent secretary and his team for actually floating a very successful first Humanitarian and Poverty Alleviation National Council in Calabar. Well done, sir. You see, in my experience, and to be quite honest, I have been in this space for quite some time. I was part of FIP during the Abuja regime, doing exactly the same thing. We transformed into NAPEP. I was there also, exactly the same thing. Then partially I was involved with SHUAP and UWIN during the Yaradua Jonathan space. And then certainly I also participated in the National Social Investment Program under President Buhari, may God be with him, his administration. And now there is a continuity. Now let me tell you, this country, one of the biggest problems in this country is poverty. Poverty is very, very high. And this poverty is not just poverty like Madam has 2 cars and I have 1 car. No. The problem is absolute poverty. We have too many people within the bracket of not eating well. They are not living in good houses. They do not have modern skills to participate in the economy. They are not drinking clean water. Therefore, they are prone to waterborne diseases and so on. And their sanitation infrastructure is non-existent, and so on and so on. The list is long. And we have many people. Now, Nigerians must understand that first, federal government is just intervening. The challenge is seen physically in the state, and I was secretary to the government in Adamawa State here. And I can tell you nearly 90% of the activities of state governments is actually poverty alleviation. It's about primary health care. It's about basic education. It's about rural water supply, and so on and so forth. So Nigerians must understand that, number one, in addition to the problem being very, very big, no country can survive well with this kind of level. We must try to reduce it. And how do we effectively do that? The coordination infrastructure must be very, very matured. The federal government and the state governments must seamlessly work very hard to ensure that they are targeting very well, their data is the same, their technical capacity to actually hit this is actually at the highest level, and so on and so forth. Now, the poverty is very expensive, and Nigerians are very hasty in trying. Anywhere you put money, the average Nigerian believes that you, who is responsible for using this money to do work, is actually a cheat, is a thief, is just stealing things. And because poverty is a vicious system, you know, as you wind one, it is unwinding. And people think you're just eating the money and you're not doing anything. I'll give you an example, just let me not stress you too much. When we were doing Empower, we had nearly 1 million graduates. It's just a tiny little component of the Empower. 1 million graduates under the Teach. They're teaching in primary schools, and Health, they're working in the healthcare, and Agro, they are helping in the agriculture system. At that time, the minimum wage was 30,000. Their stipend was pegged on this 30,000. So 1 million graduates on 30,000 stipend every single month is 30 billion naira. This is, you have not done any monitoring, no data, no meeting, no training, 30 billion. And this is only a tiny bit of that particular system. And now 30 billion to a Nigerian is huge. Oh my God, they have so much money. They're spending, they're cheating, they're, you know. And so Nigerians must understand this. The numbers are very high. It is very, very expensive. And we also have to learn and develop the culture of celebrating success. We don't always investigate things. We want to fight. We want to chase people to EFCC, ICPC. They are cheating. And we stall things. We break the flow. And this thing, remember, you are not molded in the university to come and implement a poverty alleviation program. There is no course in the Nigerian university system that is poverty alleviation. So it is only economists, engineers, scientists put together. So you too, as a team, you have to learn. If you ask the Honorable Minister, when he was in Ministry of Education, he didn't know as much about humanitarian and social investment. Now he is the minister there, and I can tell you for his first 3 months to 6 months, he started learning. And it is actually, even the questions that he had when he was Minister of Education, he started translating, thinking, oh my God, is this how you are doing it? Is this how it is? This is how it is. And it takes you 3 to 4 years to actually learn and start making a sense out of it. So put together, yes, if we are very serious and committed, as we see the government is doing, we can reduce this. And the index of reduction is actually data. If your data is not sharp, if your targeting method is not sharp, if your monitoring and evaluation is not sharp, you will not even notice what you are doing is meaningful. And to do these sharp things, you need very committed, trained, and smart technical people. And sometimes we take the easiest side. Oh, we do this, we do all these people with flash drives and AI and so on and so forth. This is not going to do anything for you. You must go to these places where it is very difficult to reach. You will go to schools for school feeding where there is no school. The chaps are sitting under a tree. You must go there and monitor. You will use cooks for the school feeding, women in the village who have never cooked in a formal setup. You must build that capacity, and so on and so forth. So yes, these things infinitesimally reduces, and sometimes you register the increase, but it is the coordination and the use of data that will clearly show you.
Dr. Binder, fantastic. Quickly, you say poverty is endemic. I mean, it's a serious problem for us in Nigeria. Would you say that based on the resource base and the youthful population of Nigeria, this poverty, is it caused really by the people or by poor governance, or if you like, failure of distribution on the part of government?
There are many factors to do this. You see, our country is a blessed country. This is a country where you see millions of jobs without workers, and you see millions of workers without jobs. That connection requires a lot of things. You see, in governance is key, leadership is key. And I can tell you, for example, this NSIP cannot survive as an agency under a ministry within the kind of envelope budgeting system. It will never survive. It has to be a special presidential institution, yes, under the Ministry of Humanitarian, but powered by funding beyond what you can think of. The envelope will not do. 2, state government, the structures for state governments must be seamless. They must learn from federal, and federal must learn from them. This again can do it, but the sources of entry into poverty is huge in our country. Yes, the Honorable Minister has just told me, insecurity will produce poverty classes instantly. The COVID made sure so many people drop into poverty because the markets were closed. You would know Keke na Pep, and so on and so forth, drop into poverty. So even the work that you do for 10 years will just disappear just like that if you're not careful. But I can tell you, commitment and very sharp data management, close monitoring, can show us where we're making progress and where we're having serious challenges. And we should stop politicizing this. Politics is actually affecting the process. Everything we do must be politicized, and poverty does not know this politics. If you have a very serious problem in Kaduna, hit it in Kaduna. If you have a very serious problem in Calabar, Cross River, hit it there. But you cannot continue always saying, oh, there are 6 geopolitical zones. We have 36 states. We must share equally. This will never give you the result. So, yes, poverty is endemic, but I can tell you we have what it takes if we can mine our own people, our institutions to actually tackle it. And I think what the ministry is doing now is on the right track, but they certainly need support, and they must do more.
Much, Dr. Bindi, for your perspective there.
I can just say one thing about this issue.
Okay. Just before I ask you another question. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say, actually, the question is germane, and that is what we actually need to address. But the fact is that the approach toward eradication of poverty in Nigeria was not handled in the right dimension. And that's what we are trying to crack. We have a document that is very robust, that has really said that, look, fighting poverty in Nigeria cannot be done uniformly because the cause of poverty in Nigeria is multidimensional. And that's why the federal government in 2022 conducted a very extensive research with Oxford University to produce 2022 multidimensional poverty index report. And in that report, if I tell you now that Bayelsa, which is one of the most richest states, if I compare it that Bayelsa is multidimensionally poor than Kano State, you will not agree. You understand? But you see, the issue is what caused poverty in Sokoto is not likely what will cause poverty in Port Harcourt. Okay. But when we come to address it, we have the same approach. That is the issue. Now, in Sokoto, Kebbi Zamfara, major cause of poverty there has to do with out of school, education, basic education, and health, access to health. You understand? Now, if you go to Bayelsa State, because the multidimensional poverty address issue of education, health, security. Now in Sokoto, and this insecurity and out-of-school children is the major component. And then also the work and shock places. Now then, condition of living. If you go to Bayelsa, why is Bayelsa multidimensionally poor? If you look at the housing, for you to own a house in Bayelsa at foundation level, you may require up to 2-3 billion for you to reclaim the soil, to reclaim the land that you are going to build. So you find that if you look at their level conditions, you see a lot of people living on the surface of water. You understand? School is not that. They have a certain level of education, so that's not being used. So invest much. If you didn't invest in housing, whatever you do, you will not affect the poverty level of that when that index is used to assess it. Now come to Sokoto, build all the story building you have, build all the streets, build all the flyovers, or Sokoto, Zamfara, in the northern part of the country. You understand? You understand? It may not address the poverty, because that poverty is leveled there because there are a lot of out-of-school children with over 75% there. So if you invest in education, you are going to make serious impact in reducing poverty level in those areas that I've mentioned earlier.
So there are peculiarities.
So even that's why I was sponsored by the president to go to Oxford and study that in depth. And when I came, president directed that those, and then the multidimensional poverty index report, why it is so good, is discrete. Each state has its own report. In each state there is the senatorial district report. And then in each senatorial there is also local government. And then not only that, it also added people with disability and children in that report so as to address issue holistically. Now I have to circulate that. I can recall that the governor of, I think it's Enugu State, responded that, look, Honorable Minister, we are grateful to the ministry and for Mr. President to direct you that this important document and this, we don't have access to it. And he made us he assured us that 2026 budget of Enugu State is going to reflect the finding of multidimensional poverty index report. Because that is what you needed to do, to guide you, so that when you assess it next time, you can now say that you are making impact. And what the Bender said is all these things that I've mentioned that are used in assessing poverty, some of them are even at local government level. So for us also to get it right, we must empower the local government to be able to say that, look.
So tell us the level of collaboration between the federal government and the state government, because that's one of the issues that Dr. Bindi raised, that if there is no proper collaboration between the state and the federal, even at the local government.
Yes, I said previously there wasn't.
The efforts will not be, the impact will not be meaningful.
Yes.
Yeah, so tell us.
Prior to, there was a collaboration that lacks coordination, that lack tracking, that also lack a strong monitoring and evaluation framework. And then it was that observation that made us to make presentation to the Federal Executive Council on the need to have National Council of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, which all the parties from the local government to the federal level will come and agree on certain terms on how to approach issue of humanitarian crisis response and then poverty reduction, which we've agreed, and that's why I said we have to look at who has experience in all doing this to tell us where there is defect here and there. And we did that council, and we became, we now have a strong collaborations. And in fact, when it comes to the hosting of the council, many states bid it. You understand? But fortunately, we are in in Calabar for that same council. This has given us a level of strong addition. So as of today, what is happening in Sokoto is we are aware through the forum of our minister, permanent secretaries, and then commissioners of humanitarian affairs and poverty reduction. And that's why even this, because we have that resolution, even the food distribution we are doing, we are strongly collaborating with state government. Your station aired it live in Sokoto. It was also aired live in KB. It wasn't sponsored by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. You understand? It is the state government that's as part of their collaborations. Okay, let's see how we can, people know that something is being done. And also, all the state government on their own part added their contribution to what the president has approved, so that we have reached more number of households than we have even anticipated, because it's become a joint effort and there's pooling of resources together so that we can reach.
Fantastic, Honorable Minister. So you said the states are involved in all of this. We'd like the people watching to also be part of this conversation. Feel free to send in your SMS or WhatsApp messages, if you have questions, recommendations, comments about all our guests are talking about this morning. I will look forward to reading your messages, of course. I'd like to get to Amsria Janaku now. I mean, this is brilliant, but we keep talking about this Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, and like critics will say, some say the impact has been felt, some say, well, not felt. You say you oversight based on what you do on the NGO front. Speak about political neutrality in this aids coming from this ministry. Would you say there's political neutrality, or you think that it is inclined towards those who are political affiliates?
All right, thank you. I think in the course of the conversation, we've heard a lot about data, being data-driven and being evidence-based. And we have monitored this right from the time of the administration of Buhari, the conditional cash transfer, for example, and then to a large extent the homegrown school feeding program. And we've not had cause, to flag any data that says, oh, somebody is being denied, one of these benefits because maybe they are PDP or because they are APC. We've not had any, or we've not seen data that, showed us or moved us in that direction. So I think at the heart of it is the philosophy that drives these kinds of intervention. For example, we have the constitutional imperative, which is there in the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy, the economic objectives specifically, which says that, the wealth of the country, the resources of the country should be distributed in a way that, it's not lopsided and everybody gets to benefit. And then you also have some core principles that govern social protections, globally. And one of those principles is the principle of distributive justice. And I think Dr. Bindiri, in the course of his intervention, mentioned, about how we should not say, oh, this should be about, geopolitics. This should actually be on the basis of the needs and, on the basis of the fact that, people in certain parts of the country are facing peculiar issues, and then, they should, of course, get, priority attention. And of course, we have also the principle of gender equity and social inclusion, which of course the minister also mentioned, which is at the heart of saying, okay, in targeting your interventions, ensure that this also empowers historically marginalized groups, ensure this also empowers people with disabilities, and of course, at the level of the state, that is also where we drive advocacy around these issues to ensure that when the distribution is being done, it actually targets the right people. The last thing I would like to talk about, having said that we've not flagged issue of political discrimination in our data in the course of monitoring over the years, is the question of what we call the digital welfare state, because the minister talked about the NINs of this, using the NIN, using the BVN, and those also come with some challenges. In fact, I returned from a recent meeting in Berlin, Germany, where we were talking about the role of the digital welfare state in intervention programs like this. The fact that, not everyone has that capacity and has that wherewithal, because you are talking about absolutely poor people. And so if you are using digital, you also have to factor in the fact that, it could also lead to exclusion. in some instances. So by and large, I think our monitoring of these interventions have basically shown that there is adherence to the core global principles that govern social protection and humanitarian intervention. But of course, there's always a problem of scale. And this is where you would have those tensions between people who feel, oh, we should get more, and people who feel, oh, the thing is not going around enough because of that problem of scale. So we would like to recommend to the government, seeing that this model has worked over the years in terms of, because you would imagine that if we did not have anything like this, how severe and how acute the problem of poverty and social dislocation will be in our country. So we as civil society, the way we have approached it, we have done it as a partnership. We have a network, the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, which led the monitoring of the conditional cash transfer. Like Dr. Bindi was mentioning, went to the local government, went to the distribution points to ensure that the people actually got what they had been programmed to get. And then we collected back data, which is actually feeding into the evidence about the successes that have been recorded in this program, and also flagged challenges. And where we had one or two instances of sharp practices, we were also able to report it back into the system. So I think that whole model where the governance actors collaborate with the civic actors is actually very, very critical in delivering the benefits of the program. And having said that, I think other programs of government should actually emulate this model in terms of how you work with active citizen groups to, number one, raise awareness, to, number two, oversight it to ensure transparency, and then if probably there is a place where the government is not aware something is going on, the civic actors are also able to report to the government and give an indication of what is happening, and government can always take action to create a remedy for such situations. So I think overall, I would commend the model. I would wish that the scale was bigger, and then I would also wish that there is a lot more civil society involvement in it.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm free for your view there. You've talked about the issue of transparency and accountability and the impact that it's having right now. But let's get to Dr. Bindi now, because you talked about the peculiarities. You also talk about the need for proper collaboration. But what do you think, what metrics do you think should be put in place to evaluate the proper impact of this social program on the people?
Thank you very much, sir. Evaluation certainly means you are measuring from where you are coming from, what you have done, and what are the results. You see, Nigeria has a number of stories that actually we can learn to measure what is happening. Look at Keke Napep. I was the desk officer that implemented this Keke Napep. Look at, without any government push, this thing has become the model of transportation literally everywhere in Nigeria, from Lagos to Maiduguri to Kwara State. Very successful. But the idea of that project was, can we manufacture Keke Napep? Now that we have developed the thirst and the hunger to eat Keke Napep services, can we go to the next level and be able to make the tires, the tarpaulin cover, bend the metal, get people to be welding? Maybe we have not reached the level of casting engines and gearboxes. I think we can too, but so we can import 10% of it and make 90% of it. This is the dream. This is why Nigeria stops. Our industrial policy doesn't say this. Does not say, okay, hello, we now know that we need Keke Napep. So most of the technologies around Keke Napep are in the public domain. There is no intellectual property protection on that. You see, this is it. So we fail to celebrate, we fail to measure, and if you check Keke Napep, you'll find that a master's degree graduate is driving Keke. A graduate from university is driving Keke. Diploma holders are driving Keke. Totally uneducated people are also driving Keke. Something has happened, has sparked. Similarly, look at POS. POS came as a technology, very miniature, and so, but this is a bank. Look at how POS has spread everywhere. And POS, again, you can find a master's degree having POS to survive until you come to the totally uneducated people also operating POS. The idea now is to say, look, we too, we can be able to develop fintech services. This Nigeria is doing very well now to a certain extent. So to measure these things, you don't need anybody to come and start saying, oh, they clap for me and so on and so on. You will just see the reaction in the society. And for God's sake, sir, this country has over 300 universities. We have more than 600 research institutions. Research and intellectualism does not coexist with poverty. How come that in Nigeria that we have so much intellectual infrastructure and also so serious poverty? Something is wrong. And therefore, most of the policies must talk directly to this. But we like spending too much time on macroeconomics. How do we reduce interest rate? How do we do the balancing of the dollar and so on? And we forget the micro. And it is the micro that will make it to measure. So for me, the Social Investment Program Agency, the National Social Investment Program Agency in the ministry, should lessen the labor of trying to implement so much. They can intervene, but they should serve as a coordinating infrastructure. They must know where every single poverty activity or poverty alleviation activity is happening in Nigeria. That is why when I was there, we used to have focal persons who are the coordinators in the state, and me, the national coordinator. We meet literally every 3 days. Every 3 days. And so these are the tools that you can use to be able to gather data. You must have intellectual capacity involving the university and so to analyze, and then you can see how it is behaving. But certainly when you do that, you think you are not moving, and you start getting under pressure, and you get a lot of criticism, and people will think that you've stolen the money, and nothing has happened.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Bindi, for that. We'll take a break now. When we're still watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA, and the topic is still the social investment program of the federal government. The Honorable Minister of State is here, and likewise our other guests. We already have comments and questions from our viewers, which we'll read out now. This one is from Muhammad Awal Musa from Kano. It said, what is the timeline for that's to the minister now, for clearing MPA arrears? Government officials recently committed to resolving outstanding MPA allowances from previous cycles. When can our local youth expect this payment to hit their accounts? Then secondly, this is from Shehu. Shehu is from Basita in Kwara State. It says, Nigeria government, both current and past administrations, has indeed tried by bringing many interventions, but the continuity of those programs is the major issue. Honorable Minister, did you know that TVET beneficiary received just one stipend since the beginning of the program? If I may ask you, sir, what is the future of MPA brought by the regime of President Muhammadu Buhari? The program was one of the few successful programs in Nigeria. I was also a beneficiary of M program that you brought back. This also from Chris Simon is also directing to the Honorable Minister. Good morning, Honorable Minister. Please, how does your ministry ensure this program is not hijacked by the powerful elites and prevent it from getting to the targeted beneficiaries? This also is for the minister. Please help Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu when they will start, I want to find out when they will start disbursement of the farmer money loan to beneficiaries, and how will one know he or she is not qualified. This is also this social investment program discussion. We, the viewers, would like to have the portal on display so that one can also apply through the portal. Then Chris Akwarendu says, good morning. Today's program on poverty reduction and alleviation is enlightening. I am happy the government is working on the roots of the problem from the different parts of the country. This country had suffered from the lack of foundational process of poverty reduction. The government using data and trained personnel to work, not just dump money, is a clincher. Japheth in Lokoja says, how closely is your ministry monitoring the distributions to avoid politicians diverting this to personal empowerment to their constituents?
Well, thank you so much. I think there are about 7 or 8 questions. Maybe
you kindly respond briefly because we have more questions.
Briefly,
yeah, because we have more questions.
For the Empower,
yes, sir.
We are aware. It's not that we are not aware that they are on this thing we are supposed to, and we are working seriously along with Federal Ministry of Finance to get that money. And as soon as we've gotten the money from the Ministry of Finance, we dispose it to beneficiaries. I think it's the total sums, that we are following up, is about 81 billion naira, which even the President agreed. Once that comes into circulation, that will also improve the economy and well-being of Nigerians too, because the market will really, it will reflect on our purchasing power in our different market. So it's not something that we are playing with, and we are working to make sure it is speed. Now, the stipend I mentioned, the program has not been concluded. We agree that there are some people that have gotten 3, 2, and 1 tranches. And this tranche is coming monthly at monthly interval. So all those that have gotten, anyone that has received at least a tranche should be sure that he is also going to get the balance of the remaining 2 tranche, or 1 tranche if you have received 2. It's ongoing. It has not been suspended. Then on the issue of hijacking, definitely is not likely to be hijacked, but we are putting in checks and balances. We have security agencies, we have CSO, monitoring and many things. People thought that we are not being this. When I was in this studio, I mentioned that we have spent so much on the conditional cash transfer. I was shocked when I said I have a guest in my waiting room. I said, who is that? I say, they say, Olotun of Otun Ekiti. And I said, I allowed His Royal Majesty to come in. He came here, I came with protest that in my constituency, nobody has received conditional cash transfer. He says from Ekiti State. I'm also the son of Ekiti State. I say, I know all the villages. I have been coming outside of Ekiti, so I know different places. So I have to call the listen. They gave us data for his own domain. And then I also called the desk officer in Ado Ekiti.
So are you saying that? Are you saying if you are not contacted, some communities will be?
No, I'm just saying, just highlight that we are being monitored even by the traditional.
Okay, fantastic.
Then lastly, on the issue of hijacking this thing, we have developed a format. We launched, and our bureau staffs are now in the state working with civil society organizations, working with the state government officials to ensure that beneficiaries are gotten. And we have seen them. What you saw, the people you saw, really just actual women, children, people with disability, and also those.
Okay, many thanks, Honorable Minister. Let's quickly read some more messages that we have. This one says, good morning to the program anchors and to the two leaders in the studio. Also, my Honorable Minister, I want to seek an assistance from your ministry concerning obtaining the farmer's loan. I'm a piggery farmer in Lagos. I lost all animals to swine flu in 2025. As we speak, I'm in serious debt and my health is shaky. The farm lost so many farmers to the pandemic experience. Please save my soul by pulling me up. We have applied for this loan so many times with no results. Please help. That's from Reverend Abiodun Adewale from
No, I don't think he has really applied because I've just opened the portal. So I don't know why he has applied.
Well,
farmer money is just being launched now. I think you agree with me. So for him to say he has applied separately, maybe through other this. And let me also call this. There are a lot of scammers who are parading themselves as this. Anybody that has applied in any website and you are asked to pay for registration fee and then to pay for monitoring fee and any other issue, that is a scam.
Okay, let's take some more messages. This one says, good morning, presenters. Good morning, our guest in the studio. Social investment programs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is welcome. It's a welcome development. At least it helps the poor, though it's not everybody that benefits from it. Let's be optimistic and always pray for the development of our dear country, Nigeria. That's from Chris Simon. Another one says, please, can we do an open call to some of the recipients of the cash transfer from time to time to confirm receipts of the cash, which will at least convince Nigerians that they are doing what is right and funds not diverted.
Well, to answer this, let me say that that's the level that we are now creating awareness and assessing the impact. And we are going to address press, we call also beneficiaries to share experience, how they have utilized the money, and also it's going to be an open segment. That's the level, that's the last stage we are now.
All right, yes. That's a good response to Cecilia. Thank you for your message. Another one says, good morning, Nigeria. I wish to thank the Honorable Minister for his explanation on the national cash transfer. But in case of Cross River State, beneficiaries went through vigorous screenings and capturing late last year and were told that they would be paid, and up to date nothing has been done. And also initial beneficiaries who benefited from the Buhari administration have been shortchanged and their monies were not evenly and completely paid to them. Beneficiaries are at the mercy of the state officials. Please, Honorable Minister, kindly intervene and investigate all these so that the people of Cross River State can have trust in this humane intervention and President Tinubu's Renewed Hope initiative. That's from Jacob A.
Well, I think we are also not going to take this lightly, Cross Rivers, because let me say that there is Nigerian Integrity Group that came up with a report of what happened in Katsina State, and we constituted this time. We worked together with Zamfara State. And we work together with the chief of that state through the office of the governor, and we're able to resolve the issues.
So you solve that of Cross River.
This one also will look at
fantastic. Well done, Honorable Minister. This one says, good morning. I'm feeling highly excited with the trend of discussion, especially the glaring fact that any success story by government at all levels have to be people and policy oriented. But today, politics has neutralized policies in public service. So sad now that public servants who help to formulate government policies are no longer patriotic and won't think along vibrant policy orientation again. That's from Tayo Olani, a retired postman. This one says, thanks to NTA for this regular informative program on Good Morning Nigeria. I want to ask the Minister if the report on multidimensional poverty at the 3 levels of government is available to the subnational governments and the public.
Any
That's
website is to go. You can go to any of the browsers and write multidimensional poverty index report of 2022. It will be available to him.
All right, fantastic. Yusuf Abdul from Zaria, that's your response. Another one says Nigerians love collection of fish than teaching them how to fish. Government should move away from giving fish to teaching people how to fish. Establishment of industries, small and medium, for people to work. That's
and
from
I also agree with him, and that's why the ministry is changing its direction now. We have developed what we call durable solutions in agriculture and automobile and renewable energy, which we have started training. And also we are collaborating with the Ministry of Education. You understand all this are skill and skill related. And that's why Mr. President said that the IDEA project of the Federal Ministry of Education should be reviewed to address the issue of skill. And that's why today, if you are going to have a vocational training, the ministry can send you to anywhere you want to learn skill, and it will be paid. So a graduate who has a degree in computer science, but he doesn't have the know-how to develop a website because of their lack of skill, he can apply that and he can get it.
All right, great response, yes. Honorable Minister. I'll take the last message. This one says, very warm greetings to all in the studio. Honorable Minister, sir. Nigeria is a peculiar country. Poverty alleviation measures or policies should be distributed uniformly to all the states or geopolitical zones in the country devoid of political coloration. We want to see and feel more federal government poverty alleviation programs in the local government areas in Rivers State. Best regards from Macaulay Egbo Dick in Omoko.
Well, my response is that's actually what we are doing, but definitely, you can have shocks. And when you have shocks, it's called for intervention. And when intervention comes, for instance, there is a flood. You cannot take that food that you want to go for this, and you have to make a special provision. And that's not even this, what we are doing is not budgeted, it's intervention of the federal government because of the gravity and severity of life that will be lost. So President uses this as okay,
we're completely out of time, Honorable
Minister. Thank you so much. Okay, just to round up, we'll just take 30 seconds from Dr. Bindi, then we'll come to you. So let's go to Dr. Bindi now. Just give us just recommendations how we can improve the design, implementation, and the impact of this program in just less than 1 minute, please.
Thank you very much. I will advise that we improve our coordination. We ensure that we mine our intelligentsia to ensure that we get a lot of technical support in this. Third, we must be able to, like any other country, utilize a lot of data and analysis, and we should be that data will make us transparent, will make us to communicate with our people, and like you always say, the measurement. We have to ensure that we mop up all the activities from private people, from state governments, from federal government, all targeting to this through this social investment program and the ministry to showcase to Nigerians that we are serious. And for Nigerians, let us for once celebrate success when we have success, and also encourage those people who are working by trusting them based on the transparency that you see. I think we can solve this problem by the God's grace. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister, and have a fantastic day.
Okay. Fundamental question remains the question of how available information will be for people around this program, so that you address all the misconceptions. People don't go to fake sites like we're seeing. And then critically, the role of the local government is also crucial, because I'm a grassroots person. So I want to see more local government's commitment to this process. All
right, fantastic. Honorable Minister, in 10 seconds, say something to Nigerians.
Let's continue to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for him to renew the hope and succeed in governance in Nigeria.
Renewed hope, of course. Thank you so much, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu, Honorable Minister of State, Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. Always a delight to have you in our studio. And thank you for retaining your permanent seat right here in this studio. We sincerely appreciate you. Of course, I'm Sri Ajana, Co-Executive Director, Grassroots Center for Rights and Civic Orientation. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. And of course, Dr. Umar Binder, founder and Chief Operating Officer at Binder Knowledge Development Center, Yola, Adamawa State, and former National Coordinator, National Social Investment Program. Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure to see you, and of course, looking forward to see you in your traditional regalia in our next program. Thank you for being our guest. All right, so that's our package, and good morning, Nigeria today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Henry John. Live locked on the NTA.
And I'm Ademola Adeoye. Do have a lovely day.